You've got to make sure, though, that you're delivering on the commercials. And I guess it's my job, if there's a fight in the meeting with design versus ops, ops always wins. You can't do things at the expense of covers if that starts to conflict with the original business plan.
Welcome to What's Cooking. Today we've got a super special episode for you, live from the Hospitality Tech Expo in London's XL Arena. This is the show where we talk about operators who want to perform and thrive and not just survive. Today's guest is Neil Remedios, the operations lead from Dave's Hot Chicken. And he talks to us about how they went from 0 to 7 restaurants in less than 12 months and launched the incredible Dave's Hot Chicken into the UK with a massive bang. Over 1,000 customers average per day, launching the fastest and biggest growing Dave's Hot Chicken in the world. Now let's get into it. So Neil, great to have you here. Welcome
Thanks
to
for
What's
having me.
Cooking.
Cheers.
Do you mind giving us a brief intro into your background and how you came to be leading one of the fastest growing and most exciting brands in the UK?
Yeah, I started out, only ever worked in hospitality, started out at McDonald's. I did my management training with Whitbread in the mid-90s and then moved to London. I worked for Maxwell's Restaurant Group, so I ran a few sites around London, in the West End and Chelsea, before joining up to be part of the opening team at Byron Hamburgers. So, I was there for 6 and a bit years. We grew that from 0 to 40. And then I moved on when it sold, and then spent a few years in Hong Kong and China. And then, found my way back to London with a few rugrats. And, find myself back with the gondola, the Azzurri guys, and got involved with Dave's. So, super pumped and going well, and exciting few years ahead, I think. Yeah,
nice. Dave's is obviously a cultural phenom in the US. If anyone hasn't seen the news, they had a $1 billion acquisition, one of the fastest growing brands of all time. Neil and his team at one point had the highest turning over Dave's restaurant in the world in London, an incredible achievement. It's obviously landed with a massive bang. Not all concepts localized to the UK from the US. What gave you the confidence that Dave was going to absolutely crush it?
When I first went out to LA, met with the founders and the management team, we spent a few weeks training and really getting close to the brand and the operation. And I think, straight away, the engagement with their team, the effort they put into the training, the detail of the operation, the huge fun, did a fantastic job with us. And then just the care that they put into the product and the process to make sure you've got real consistency there, which just gives us that great end product. We kind of knew at that point with the flavour, the Nashville style, I think we had something that set us apart from the competition. So,
incredible success story. Averaging over 1,000 guests a day in Shaftesbury. So if you haven't been there, you have to hit that up and get a Reaper into you and wipe those tears away.
Don't get a Reaper.
So if you move on from obviously it's landed really well, but nothing lands like that without an incredible amount of work to localize that. Could you talk to us a little bit about what went into that process? Was it pure copy and paste from the few hundred sites in the US, or what didn't work and what had to be tuned specifically for the UK market?
Yeah, I mean, the objective and the goal was to copy and paste. That's what you've got to do. I think if you can do that really, really well, you're going to execute exactly the same experience as they have in North America. And that was my goal. I guess from going out there, like I said, and sort of getting really close to it, I think the next step is getting back here, working out what's the same, what can you bring across. So fryers, certain pieces of kit, great, you tick that off, brilliant. But then there's other things that are different, oil, different products and different things that they use over there to over here. So developing the menu and the product to make sure you account for that and having to tweak and change was a big part of it. A lot of the products that we're using, we're achieving the same thing, but getting new suppliers, new products, testing them, getting the Americans over to approve that and sort of make sure that they're happy with it was another big part as well. You end up with copy and paste, and you do end up with right, you can't tell the difference between that Dave sauce and this one here. It's a Dave sauce. A lot of the products we bring over are the same. The spice is the same. The pickle we fly in as well. But then there's other bits that are copy and tweak, I guess. So a lot of the back of house systems, ways of working, The whole safety aspect in QS, obviously our EHO over here have different requirements. So just adapting the way that they work to our ways of working and just making sure that communication between the two is really good. So, yeah, I mean, it was relatively straightforward, but big piece of work before we opened for sure.
So Dave's is obviously part of the broader Azzurri Group, one of the largest and most successful hospitality groups in the UK. How fundamental or how much of an accelerant was being part of that group in terms of like finding property, leveraging supply chain, central services around HR, finance?
It was critical to meet the time frame that we did it in. So the deal was done in June 24. We opened the doors to Shaftesbury Avenue early December. So I think it's only because Azzurri have got a great core teams there, like finance, property. Yeah, Kieran, the property director, I think is very underplayed. It was like, it's going to take a year, Neil, take it easy. You got loads of time. And then 2 weeks later, you signed a deal on Shaftesbury Avenue. I'm like, so he moved really, really quick. And then mobilizing, finance and group supply chain, finding the suppliers, super critical to getting the job done. So, it's that's exactly what they did. And 6 months later, we had it open. And like you said, within 3 months, we were trading top of the chain, busiest one there. So, they continue to be a really good support as well. So it allows me to do my job. And we've got a really good core team there supporting in all of those areas.
Nice. I suppose moving on to some of the challenges we've talked on, like obviously great support system. The brand has landed so well. Been really well received from the consumer in London and now into new cities. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in that rollout? And some of the early days are typically quite hairy for restaurants opening up. Any war stories that you could give us?
I think the 3 months before the launch were the most difficult. And lots of different work streams happening at once. So what is a brand new team, and we're all working together for the first time. So just working out everyone's sort of strengths, weaknesses, what the ways of working, etc. We're building Shaftesbury Avenue, we're recruiting 100 people, we're training them at the same time, we're developing the products and entertaining the Americans when they come over. Now we're doing a pop-up for 550 people in Shoreditch. We didn't have a site at that point, so we're calling in favors and like prepping our chicken till 2 a.m. in the morning. Out of a tiny kitchen and then setting up in a makeshift car park. So doing all of those things and then kind of wearing lots of different hats from day to day and from hour to hour was really difficult, but something I'm sort of phenomenally proud of. And the team did an amazing job to go from that. And then when we opened the door to Shaftesbury Avenue, if you want a nightmare, the opening night, we opened the doors. I thought this could be busy. I think there's a lot of chat. And then I looked outside about 4 hours before we were due to open. There were like 6 people there, and I was like, "Excuse me, this is Dave's Hot Chicken." I'm like, yeah, we're waiting. I'm like, okay, great. And then by the time we opened the doors, we had a queue that had gone down past Albert Schloss. And I had like 9 different traders along Shaftesbury Avenue shouting at me for blocking their entrance. So we gave away a bit of chicken that night. Yeah.
Very cool. That must have given you huge confidence, though, that the brand was going to not just land but a bang, but build up some serious momentum.
Yeah. I mean, I was really happy with the product, and it's obviously got a big online presence. It's a huge deal in the States, and will that sort of translate over to the UK? It was great to see those queues and get that buzz. We had the founders and the whole management team there for when we launched. We had just done the pop-up. That was also building a little bit of awareness. So, that was the first time I think I looked up and, from having flour on your hands and all over you to kind of going, okay, it's working and everyone's coming. And then week 2, week 3, month 2, month 3, people are still queuing. Yeah, it was amazing.
Nice, really cool. If you look now a little bit ahead of time, less than 12 months, but you're going to finish that period with almost 7 restaurants open. So incredibly quick scaling journey with huge growth plans going forward. To get from where you were to now, you've had to build a pretty robust operating playbook. How do you make sure things are consistent across sites, across cities, across regions, while also balancing the creativity that Dave's is renowned for? So like UFOs in the ceiling, unbelievable guest experience, crazy hot sandos. How do you manage that? How do you manage the operational consistency without everything breaking down when you're doing 1,000 guests a night and you've 600 people queuing outside? It seems like a recipe for successful mayhem, but a lot of challenges, no?
Yeah, I think you hit a nail on the head. You've got to balance it right, and the design is already great, and the design team that I work with, they have a lot of fun as well. And I think if the venue allows for it, and you can have a bit of fun, go for it. And they've done that. You know, the 10-foot UFO breaking through the ceiling at Birmingham, and we've got a wraparound screen that mimics Piccadilly Circus at Shaftesbury Avenue, which is fantastic as well. Great to have that, and we'll do that, and we'll invest in that in some key sort of areas where the venue allows it. You've got to make sure though that you're delivering on the commercials, and I guess it's my job. If there's a fight in the meeting with design versus ops always wins, and I guess you can't do things at the expense of covers if that starts to conflict with the original business plan and business case that you had for that site. So I stand firm when I need to, but also it's great to have that environment and that fun, and that's got to be present as well. You don't always need a big feature piece. I think we work with incredible graffiti artists out of LA that do an incredible job of the decor. But yeah, I'm all for pushing the envelope on that. Yeah.
Nice. Long may it continue. So if we look forward, big plans for the business. We targeting a new opening every 5 weeks for the next 12 months, which is pretty incredible rate of growth. You've obviously signed European expansion for potentially 180 new sites. 60 in the UK is the next milestone. Just to unpack a little bit of that, what are you doing today, process-wise, team-wise, system-wise, to make sure that you're set up for success and set up to nail those targets?
I think you take it sort of year by year.
Fair enough.
And I think we've already got the core sort of elements and things in place for us to operate. And then I think you've got to take time to kind of work out what you need to tweak and change. And, this year's challenge will be different to next year's. And the growth, already meeting that sort of growth, that speed of growth right now. So I think the real challenge is going to be just staying true to those values and making sure that you can execute site number 30 the same that you did site number 4, 5, 10, or whatever it is. And yeah, in terms of resource, I think it's all about people, right? And just I've already started to put more resource into our people team. The training team has tripled in size. And when your opening starts to overlap, it's really important that you're consistent with the training. The team know what they're doing. They've got time to bed into their site, and you can execute flawlessly from the moment you open the door. So get the resource, stay true to the standards, stay focused on the basics.
You mentioned that earlier, nail the basics. Like everything is in place. You've got the product quality, the brand, guest experience. If you can just be consistent. You've just touched on 3Xing the people team and the training team. Why did you make that investment decision now? Was that to make sure each site is landing as you expect?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not going to change the way that we open our site. So we have sort of handover from our property team, and then we get to work getting ready for the guests. So I want to maintain that. It works. It's good. So if you commit to that, it's building the resource around that to make sure you can deliver it consistently. Doing 11, you need, you might need 6 in Liverpool and another 8 people in Nottingham or wherever else you're at. So,
okay, nice. So if we think around future growth and those big numbers, so UK domination is on the cards, European domination fast follows to be the leading QSR fried chicken brand. What could go wrong, or what could stop you, or what challenges do you foresee that might add friction to achieving that mission?
I mean, so far we can take a lot of confidence from the first 6 months. We're hitting all of our targets and KPIs that we set out from the start. And with every opening, we're sort of refining it and making it better each time. I think, one of the differences with America and the UK is that it's easier to open on a flat square in America than it is to sort of go to 2-floor listed building in London and trying to work around that. So we're getting better and more efficient every time we open. And I think the training team and the people team will get stronger and more confident as well. And I think as long as we can, stay true to those values, really commit to the product and don't compromise on it. Yeah, don't cut corners, and really make sure you look after the guests. I think if you do that, then I think you'll deliver great value for your shareholders, and then that will then build the road for the following year. So that's what I'm focused on in operations, right? Execute flawlessly and deliver the commercial. And yeah, if we can do that, then I don't think there's anything stopping us.
Very cool. Excited to see it. So life's all about learnings, as we all know. You fail, you learn, you iterate. I like to ask this question to people who come on the show. What have you learned in the last 12 months that will change how you act in the next 12 months, or any kind of personal failings or challenges that you'll go, okay, I'll make sure I won't do that again?
I think it's really important to be humble. I was new to sort of QSR, if you like. It's actually it's a different style of working super quick. You've got less time to engage with the guest. So sort of pivoting and making sure that you focus on what the guest really wants from you, which is that operational efficiency, hot, fresh food, the correct order, efficient guest experience and ordering experience is critical. Obviously, I learned a huge amount about my team, and going through, you asked about that, the hardest bit, that 3 months and sort of bringing Dave's to the UK. I learned a huge amount in terms of how the business operates, and continue to learn every week by breaking down the results from the previous week and what's working with this opening. We just opened Stevenage. I was there this morning, and I've put the chiller right next to the cook line, thinking that's amazing, that's fantastic. You just jump over there, do the prep, jump back on the line, fantastic. It opens out right onto the plating line. So anytime someone accesses the chiller, they're getting in someone's way. And now I think, okay, sliding door next time for the walk-in chiller, that'll work. So, you continually learning and trying to make those tweaks, and just try to, take time to make those considerations every time before you send the builders in, that's for sure.
It's no perfect playbook when you're moving that fast. And look, like, you've obviously nailed it and done something right. Well, look, Neil, appreciate you making time, jumping on the episode today. If any of you here haven't been to Dave's Hot Chicken, go immediately. You can meet us after and we'll pay for your Uber. Don't hold us to that. Thanks so much for sitting in and listening to today's episode. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks.
What an awesome episode of What's Cooking, live here from London's XL Arena at the Hospitality Tech Expo. Our first live podcast. Amazing audience, amazing interaction, and Neil smashed it. The fast and furious rise of Dave's Hot Chicken in the UK. Opening a new restaurant every 5 weeks. Looking for a target of 60 in the UK, 180 in Europe. Keep your eyes on this brand. What an amazing show. See you next time.